another video, and this one is for everyone setting New Year's resolutions, which I know if not all of us, many of us are. So we're here to talk to you a little bit about how we like to set goals and kicking off this year with the right way to set your goals.
Do you remember your New Year's resolution from this year?
A couple of them, yeah.
What was it?
I think one of them was to learn Chinese. That didn't happen. Well, to practice it. Another one was to graduate, which I did accomplish, luckily. And I don't remember the rest, but those were the two kind of main ones.
I think a lot of us forget our New Year's resolutions. So we wrote down a couple of goals for you guys. I know that there's quarterly goals that me and Melina set, and there's monthly goals, and then we also have that yearly goal we want to accomplish, right?
Yeah, so if you haven't seen our vision board video, go ahead and go watch that as well. So that basically is a recap of our yearly goals, but in order to make them obtainable, we went ahead and divided them into quarters and months. So each month it's important to have something you accomplish that month, because I feel when you set long-term goals, like a year is way too long, where I'm such a forgetful person that I might even forget what I wrote down. Like, I constantly have to be looking at that. And even at that, according to statistics, most people stop their New Year's resolution the second week of February, which is only a month and a week.
It's a lot of people that don't accomplish that, and they forget it so quickly, either because they don't set goals the whole year and that's something that they do just that one time. I think it's something that you have to constantly remind yourself about. And I think what's really important is that you focused on just one goal. So I think what happens to many of us is that we set way too many goals that we completely forget about them.
Oh yeah, like I feel like they definitely need to be limited. Like, you can't set like 25 goals for 1 year. You know, it has to be like, I always try to keep it like between 8, but then try to jot it down to the ones that you like. Top priority ones for me this year was graduating. That was, if anything happened this year, it was for me to graduate. So I'm so glad that that happened. And obviously I made it happen throughout the year. But you do have to really compress and see what really matters. Like stuff that is not as significant as other stuff.
The way I like to look at it is, I think you should write down as many goals as you want. But then think of it this way: if everything went as bad as it possibly could that year, sounds like this year for many people. For us, we actually had a really good year, and I'm really thankful for this year because it was a year of growth. We accomplished a lot of things, but I think what you should do is write down a lot of goals and then ask yourself, if I could only accomplish one of these goals, which one would it be? Because that might force you to actually choose the one that actually matters. Too many times we write too many goals, we forget what we're aiming for, and if you try to chase two rabbits, they both run away, right? So too many of us try to chase way too many things, and I think to make a change in your life, it's already pretty tough, and it's already challenging to try to keep up with a brand new change in your life. If it's a routine that you're used to, or if it's a bad habit that you want to go ahead and exit completely, it's tough to go ahead and just throw 8 at yourself and try to focus on all 8. So I think is write down as many goals as you want, but have that one goal that you said, okay, if I don't accomplish any of my goals this year, but I accomplish at least this one goal, then I'd be happy. And once you figure out what that one goal is, I think is break it down into quarterly goals, and then even monthly goals and bi-weekly goals, just so you can check in with yourself every single 2 weeks or every single week to make sure that you're on track for that goal. Because I think what happens to a lot of people is they set it and they don't figure out a system in order to measure if they're actually going to attain that goal in the time that they desire to.
One of my goals was also to wake up at 5 a.m. Due to a book that I read. And so
she moved in with a boyfriend that woke up at 5 a.m.
Well, that helped a little bit. But before that, I was on my own and I was trying to, do that. And there's things that you've been doing for so long. I have never been a morning person. I hate mornings. I'm grouchy. I don't want to wake up. I like my sleep. And, just setting something that's completely out of normal, it's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to wake up, oh, I wrote it down, here it goes, like magic. And so having the tracker, I actually made like my own tracker because I couldn't find online like any that I liked. So I got a piece of paper, I put waking up at 5 a.m. and then I put the calendar dates. And every day I would fill in the bubble. just so I can see my progress. I think reflection's important with anything you do, and that way you can see how you're performing, how you should be performing, what needs to change. Like for me, it was that I wasn't going to sleep early enough. So that's why I was struggling to get up those days. I would see, okay, what happened this day? Okay, I gotta work late. Then I need to schedule something differently.
And I think that's something that you see with all the famous athletes, the biggest corporations, big companies. You see that everybody's tracking something. Whether you're a company or an athlete, you have to track your performance no matter in what. And that's something that we see across the board. It's not something that we're just making up or something that we've only experienced. It's something that you can see across the board everywhere.
Okay, my goal this year can be to, be in better shape. Yes, our goal is to get a better body, but they're measurable because we have numbers that we want to hit. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to lose 10 pounds, but how am I going to get there?
Right. So I think the perfect way to go ahead and break it down is to have one ultimate goal or resolution and then break it down into targets. And I think you really do need to break it down into weekly targets, just because we forget things quickly, and there's so many things going on around us that if you don't check in with yourself at least once a week, you'll realize that 3 weeks went by, you haven't moved forward, you haven't done anything. I think that you need to have one ultimate goal that you're going to accomplish no matter what. Way too many people do blame a situation on why they couldn't accomplish their New Year's resolution. I've heard people say that they couldn't hit fitness goals because the gyms closed down. They couldn't go ahead and hit their revenue goals because their business had to close down because of COVID, because people had less money. And I feel like you have to become relentless with your goals. I don't think you should allow yourself to blame anybody else for you not being to accomplish your goals. There's people who got in the best shape of their life while working out at home. There's people that made the most money they've ever made in their entire life from starting an e-com store or pushing something completely different that they didn't think would happen this year. But you can't blame anyone for not accomplishing any of your goals, because then I think you have to call yourself out. You have to really check in with yourself and say, hey, I'm not going to blame COVID. I understand that things got hard for a lot of people and that you have to adapt and change your goal. But once you start blaming and saying, hey, I couldn't do it because of COVID, or I couldn't do it because of a certain situation that you have no control over, then I think you're allowing that situation to become bigger than you, rather than you become bigger than the situation and do whatever it takes to accomplish that goal. Because if you're not willing to do whatever it takes to accomplish your goals, then you probably don't deserve them in the first place.
And even then, I think it's adapting to what changes. If something changes in your life, you need to learn to adapt to it. And your goals can adapt with that too. The major problem with many small businesses was that they didn't adapt. They were used to consumers coming to their doors, and they couldn't go to their doors no longer because of shutdowns, because people were scared. Those that did adapt and went online and kind of found another route, or even closed their business and started something else, which is something that we did. We did something completely different. Even though Jesus was working on similar stuff, he hadn't had his own e-commerce store. I hadn't had my own e-commerce store. I was doing retail. And so we adapted and we changed and we said, let's try something new. And we're still adapting. We're still constantly like pushed to the ground, basically is the best way I can describe it, where you're thrown down by life and you have to stand up and you know what? Okay, I'm going to shake it off and see what else works, because this isn't working.
Right, because when you truly are relentless with what you're going to do, I don't think you depend on anybody. I think from the beginning of the year, you have to say, I'm going to accomplish this no matter what. And something that I like to say a lot is stick to one goal no matter what, as long as it's what you truly want, but be willing and able to change your plan. So just change your plan, change the way you're going to go ahead and accomplish the goal. Don't think that you're going to set a goal and that you're going to get there through the first plan that you made. You know, sometimes you have to go ahead and throw that all away, write a new plan, but don't throw away the goal just because it seems like it's getting farther away from you or like something is not working. I think that's why it's also important to check in weekly, is because if you notice that something's not working by week 3, you can say, okay, let's go ahead and swap out what we're doing and try something completely different, or just take out what isn't working. I think that when you become relentless and you realize that everything depends on you, you shouldn't be waiting for a stimulus check, or you shouldn't be waiting for the government to give you permission to go ahead and open up your business, which is the case in some states. But I think you have to be relentless with your goals. I think you have to realize, hey, we live in the greatest country in the world, right? And we live in the land of the free, and we don't need permission from anybody to accomplish our goals. You don't need permission from the president. You don't need permission from your family. You don't need permission from your friends. You don't need permission from your boss. You can be who you are and accomplish any goal you want right now without needing permission from someone.
I think like many people are like they want their family to hold them accountable. Like the only person that should hold you accountable is yourself. Like Jesus' responsibilities are not to make sure I accomplish my goals, and mine are not to make sure he accomplishes goals. We can support each other and we can share our goals, but at the end of the day, it's going to depend whether he wants it bad enough and whether I want it bad enough.
Right. So if you feel like you need permission to go ahead and accomplish your goal or go after it, this is it. Like, I'm giving you permission to do it, and that should be enough. Too many of us depend on who's going to be president and what they're going to do and how much they're sending, that I think you start blaming other people right away, and you start backing out, because it's way easier to back out and say, oh, I didn't accomplish my goal because Sleepy Joe is president, right?
Yeah.
I think we need to be able to say, like, hey, I don't care who's president. I don't care what's going on in the country. I don't care what's going on in the world.
Or even if you do care, like, it does not going to affect you directly. It's not going to impact your goals. Like, it's not an excuse to stop being the best version that you can be.
And if it does affect you in some sort of way, just learn to adapt. You know, there's things we can control and there's things we can't control. And the things that we can control, let's go ahead and adapt and change. And the things we can't control, let's just say, F that, right? Let's go ahead and adapt and figure out what we can do to move forward.
Our next point is to let go of your past. And I think this has been the biggest lesson for me this year, is that I've set goals for the longest time, but I've never let go of the things from the past. And I'm not a resentful person, but letting go of stuff that has happened in my life, like my personal things, not other things that people have done to me, but more so things that I've done, like things that I want to change. I think this is the first year that I've truly written down things that I want to leave behind this year, that I don't want to bring with me in the next year. And that's really important, because I don't think you can begin your future self if you're still stuck on your past self.
So if you're someone that wants to start waking up at 5 a.m. in the morning, you can't be thinking, hey, I'm not a morning person. Hey, I wake up grumpy early. Hey, I've never been a morning person. There was a certain point in your life where you said, I'm not a morning person. I don't think that's something that you're born with. I don't think God chooses certain kids to say, hey, he's going to be happy in the mornings, he's going to be sad in the mornings. I think it's a state of mind that you have to work on every single day. I understand sometimes we wake up mad or we wake up grumpy and we don't want to do things, but if you just practice getting out of that every single morning, it's something that turns into a habit. And I think you have to go ahead and dig down into your roots. And to add on to what Melina was saying is leave what you want to leave in the past. Leave it behind. It's not necessarily things that you're thinking about or you regret, but deep down in your subconscious mind, there's things that will hold you back from accomplishing your new goals.
No, and so subconsciously you have that. I feel like you have that in your head, you know?
Right.
It's your subconscious. So if I'm still here, like maybe in the present, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to be better. You know, this year I'm going to do this and do that. But I'm still thinking like, oh, last year I didn't accomplish this.
And I think that goes for anything, any aspect in your life. It's not just for waking up in the morning, but it goes for business, for making sales. I know I'm an introvert personally, but if you do want to be successful in a business or in sales, you either have to learn how to get out there and talk to people, or you say, hey, I'm not going to get out there and talk to people, but I'm going to get behind my computer and I'm going to go ahead and socialize with people online that way. But it goes for every aspect of your life. You know, don't put these titles on yourself saying, hey, I'm an introvert, I'm not friendly, I'm not sociable, I'm not a morning person. I think that goes for every single aspect in your life. Go ahead and leave that in the past. So I think it's important to go ahead and write those things down. I know me and Melina earlier this week went to an event where we wrote those things down and we shredded them. We shredded that piece of paper.
Too, if you want.
And you could shoot them too.
You can shoot them, burn them, step on them, rip them, whatever you need to do to let go of them. Just let go of them. We shredded them this year. Maybe I'll burn them too. I don't know.
It feels good, but realize that there's no magic to it. You know, just because you shred a paper that says that you're not a morning person doesn't mean you're not going to wake up grumpy the next day. So that brings us to our last point, and I think the last point is that it's a constant battle. So it's not something that you're just going to shred or burn and you're going to step out of it and say, hey, I let that in the past. It's 2021. We're not the same person anymore. We've stepped out of it. You wake up January 2nd and you realize you still have that voice in you. You still feel like crap in the morning. You still don't want to do the things that are out of your way.
Or things that are keeping you from being the best you can be.
Right. So I think you have to realize you have to become a warrior. And as cheesy as that sounds, it really is going to be a battle the whole year. Because whether it's 1 month in, 3 months in, or it's the last quarter of the year, you're going to want to fight yourself. I think you are your biggest competition. And I don't care what your goal is, your biggest competition is yourself. And until you get in that mentality that nothing's going to stop you, you're going to be relentless no matter what happens, you're going to tune in with yourself every single week and fight, then I think you'll become the person that it takes to accomplish your goal, whether it's fitness, whether it's
and I guess
financial.
A perfect example of fighting that is, for example, let's say your goal is to eat healthier this year, right? And so with that, you're swapping off your groceries, but you live with people that maybe don't have the same goals as you. And so it's constantly saying, you know what, no thank you, I don't want, chips.
Right.
No thank you, I don't want to go eat pizza. You need to make those sacrifices and those decisions if you really want to accomplish what you wrote down or what your goal is. But if you don't deny those things, sometimes you have to say no. And I think saying no sometimes is really hard. To your friends, favorite friends will be, I think it's like a weakness for me, like, hey, let's go do this, let's go do that. And you want to go out with your friends, you want to do this, but you know what, I can't go out today because it's a weekday and tomorrow I plan to wake up at 5 a.m. So it's making those sacrifices if you're truly committed to your goals.
Right. And if you're not committed, then don't subscribe to this channel because we don't want you here. So make sure you check out our last video. We go more in depth on setting goals. I know that we talk about setting trackable goals. There's a difference between setting a goal and setting something that's actually trackable. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really important. We talk about it on our vision board. We've gotten ahead of the game, and we made our vision board a couple weeks ago. Just because I know how busy we're going to be this upcoming new year, and we wanted to go ahead and get that established early on. So check out our past video on making your vision board. I encourage all of you to make a vision board, and if you do, go ahead and tag us on social media.
And feel free to share your goals with us. I want to know what your goals are this year and how you're going to separate them throughout the year. Like, what is your overall goal? Like Jesus said, your main thing that must happen this year. But then what are your smaller goals for this quarter, for this month? And I think even accomplishing those things, if you set your first month is to go to the gym maybe twice a week, something small, and then you accomplish that, and then you can move on to the second month, maybe 3 times a week. And so anything that works for you, you need to adapt, you need to change, and I know you can do it. I believe in you.
I don't believe in you. And the thing is, it's true. I don't. I think way too many people think they're going to become millionaires. I think way too many people think they're going to get the body that they want, but I don't think they realize how hard it is. And I think sometimes you need people to tell you that they don't believe in you in order for you to do it. And that's where I've gotten most of my motivation from. So I think that half of you watching this video are going to forget by, well, it's actually more than half of you. It's going to be 80% of you. But there will be a few of you who will stay in, who will stay tuned in. And let's do this together. I know that our biggest goal this year, at least as a couple, is to grow this YouTube channel. We want to go ahead and monetize this YouTube channel by the end of the year. It's something that we love doing and we love making money. It is a business/entrepreneurship channel. So we want to monetize this channel by the end of the year. And we want to thank you guys for all that help. So follow along. We're going to see, I think we'll make a video a month, just updating you guys on the channel, what the growth is and all that. But it is a fairly new channel.
But
yeah, we're going to post a lot more content, but we are going to have that monthly video where we update you guys on our success towards that goal. And we want you guys to be able to share that right back with us. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe. Check out our personal social media channels. If you like me more than Melina, or if you like Melina more than me.
If you guys have any questions, you guys can always shoot us both a message, and we'd be happy to help you set your goals. I know those are things that we're not taught, and so if any of you guys need help with setting goals or how to set your goals or how to organize your goals, feel free to contact us and we'll be happy to help you.